even with the license plate. So, anyways, there was two of them, and the big fat female one, she said I assaulted her because she latched on to my to me a bit, and I twisted her off, and now I stand 340 days for that, and possibly a $5,000 fine for that. What mother will allow? What mother will go and just happily submit after seeing her son's soul being drained out? Like he was so pale. He was food he was feasted upon. My son is in the darkest of hands, and like the darkest place in his life. My son Svarg, he cannot survive like that much longer. He can possibly die. He's not getting my milk, and that worries me. That stuff worries me. He was wearing blue jeans and some sort of shirt that had all sorts of cartoons now on it, and tractors and all that stuff that they try to smear him body with by putting him as a slave. Look, I put a clothes on you that has a tractor on it, and then they put some sort of stupid shoes on him. They want to be the first ones to give him his first shoes in life now. Be the first ones to teach him to do this or that. You see, this is a masonic, purposely done against me on a much larger scale that no, I cannot just go to court and get a loan and just get my son back through them. This is actually done on a much larger scale. That's why if I play along with that, they're just going to get me to submit to everything. And soon enough, they want to put me in a foster home called a woman's shelter. And if I obey their rules there, then possibly they'll wiggle my son in my face and say, possibly we will give him back to you. And they're going to decide when, after they have stolen. Can you believe if I go through these trials and the Creator is watching me, and as much suffering as I've already been receiving from them, they purposely, intentionally, deliberately do it. Now I have to obey their stuff, and not if I go along with that, what will it do before the one who has created Mother Earth, and the one who gives me oxygen? What would that do? Yeah, he will sever that relationship between me and him once and for all. Yeah, he will. And now am I supposed to go to jail because I was arrested trying to leave, and she latched onto me and I tore off. And then that big fat one, when he went by to the door around the corner, when I asked him to get my camera or whatnot by the door, he chased me down to the hallway and wouldn't let me leave. And I used my leg, and and here, get away. Very likely I used my leg to get away. I was not aggressive because I had my mother's, remember, I used my mother's armor, which was my mother's instinct to just run for it. And so I wasn't aggressive at all. They were. And I raised my right hand. Creator, I swear to you, they were the ones that were attacking me. I did not. They stole from me. I did not. And they stole from me each and every time. And I have never stolen anything from them. So there you have it. And I swear to you, Creator, so this stuff happens to me all the time. And I have to deal with this Masonic stocking ring, actually. It is that. So I use my leg slowly. Just get away. And I face 2 counts of each for assault 4, they say, or whatever. But eventually, when all 4, there was 6 police showed up within minutes. It was all staged like a theater. And they said to me, are you going to, she's abducting her son. They actually were saying I was stealing my son. They did. So, and the caseworker, the fat female one, is like, give him back to me. So I stand before the test of time, the morals, and right then and there, what will I do? So there on my right side is a desk with a big chair. The caseworker on my left demanding my son be given to her. My son in my arms crying. I didn't make it to the door. 6 police right here before me with weapons and all. And there's It was like that. And then the security that went along with the female that was here. So there was like that. She demands I give my son back. And I'm like, no, no. And then I'm like, go and get my paperwork. And then she's like, in that case, you will give your son back, right? And I'm like, under duress, I'm not giving my son, get my paperwork. Finally, she agrees to get my paperwork because I did not say I'll exchange some papers for my son. I never agreed to that. When she gives it to me and lays it on the table, on the desk, I'm like, I do not give my son back. She's like, give him to me, give him to me. And then I put my son slowly on the chair, the big, big chair. The big, big chair there was. I put my son slowly on the chair, and she grabs onto his other side, and I'm grabbing onto my son's hand, and I'm kissing it. I'm like, no, no. And she takes my son away. I never gave my son to her. Creator, Creator, my Heavenly Father, in the heavens, I raised my right hand, and I said, I never given away yours. Away what you have blessed me with. Never, never, Creator, the most precious that you have given to me to bless me with. I would never, because I had to give all my stuff away just to sacrifice for our freedom, because I thought all I would have is just the clothes on my back. Because Creator, when he said to run towards Canada, at least he was saying, are you ready to run if you only have nothing, just the gift that I have given you, my son? And he was saying, самое драгоценное бери, самое все лучшее, все хорошее оставляй и бежи, бежи. Топ-топ-топ, я побежала в Канаду так. Ага. Топ-топ-топ. Со сыном. Я его так кормила и бежала. И мы дошли через где-то час с половиной там. И после этого нас забрали. Ага. И когда я туда дошла... So, I stood the test of time as a mother, and I couldn't. So, I swear before my Creator that I never, ever would feed my son like that. And I put him in the chair because, why? Because there's police standing around me, and if I grab onto him, that could put him in so much danger. But I am not giving him away, and they're all about documentation, consent, confirm that you just allow this with your vocabulary words to literally hand over your son, consent that you will give it, okay, because the one on the left is saying you will give it your son, right, because she's not taking him now, she's not grabbing onto him, she's literally just saying give it, you will do it, okay, like they're all about vocabulary. If I consent with this, but I cannot, I'm standing the test of my morals now. And I put him in the chair. I know there's all these police with their weapons, and I'm not going to give him, even with that, if I'm not going to just lay him in the chair without holding him too. I put him in the chair, and I didn't let go of him. I didn't actually. Creator, I did not let go. No, I didn't. And so she grabs on while I'm still holding on. And then she grabs him from my arms in the chair. So that's how she took my son away from me. And I was arrested. I went to jail. And that was on Friday, so I only had something to drink, and I didn't eat until I was released on Tuesday afternoon, and I was running and dying of thirst and all. It was the test of my morals, after all. I can assure you that. It was in jail. I was screaming. I lost my voice. This is not my voice, after all. I sound so much more different. But yeah, I was. No one. It was unbearable. And they know they premeditated this. I stopped eating, they started to worry. And I always said, I do not eat from the hands of death. I told them that each and every time. I don't eat from the hands of death. And I said, I will never eat food from you. You see? So, I lost a lot of weight, actually. They took me to the hospital, and then they released me after so much chaos and all. But I had to see one of theirs. I had to piss in this, and they demand things out of me. And all I wanted to do was return to the wild, like an animal would. And me and Misha and my son will just be having natural reality. And we didn't want to show him a reality because Misha's always worried about running out of gas, and it's unnatural. We don't want to show him vehicles and all that. We're already done with that. And we want to show him somewhere in a natural environment, organic. And now we have to legitimize it with paperwork here. No, so we can leave through. Will Eskimo do that? There's Eskimos that live up in Canada and through here. I bet they don't even care. They wouldn't even stop them if they tried. They would just look at them and speak their native tongue and just pass through. So this was injustice against me. And my son has been stolen. And when I saw him, his soul was literally drained. And when I was in jail, my soul started to drain because whenever there was the night of my son's birthday, I went to the park to sleep to mourn for my son. And I was crying tears. And I wrote some really deep messages for my Misha. And they said that I heard some gunshots in the distance, and I didn't really care. But there was like 6 police cars that showed up that night because I was crying some really, really painful tears. Painful it was. Finally, I got a moment to cry, and it was that, and it was right there. It was that, and it was right there, and I wrote so many tears. I mean, that's the time I got to really cry for my son. So 6 police showed up, and they're like, we heard, and like they were starting to. I locked the doors in my car. I took videos of this. I was like, I don't speak English. I don't speak English. Called the Russian embassy. If you have to talk gibberish with them, if you have to fake an accent, you don't have to speak their language, even if you know it. Who cares? Because once you do, they you are submit. So they knew who I was, but they said they heard gunshots in the distance, and I need to leave this park. Blah 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 blah. And they ran me out. I'm always run out from one place to another in really different ways. Sometimes with police, actually, many times too. But anyways, the police are always harassing me. I'm already acquainted with all of the police here in this town, all the ones in the jail, because they don't like the way I talk to them. Whatever. But there was in the jail, whenever the police ran me off in the park, the one cop, he actually said, yes, I know your son. I was with him in the jail that night whenever they took him away. Well, he didn't say jail. He said, I visited your son. Can you believe that one of the police that ran at me as I'm mourning my son in a park the night I gave birth to him a year ago, he actually told me those words. I just visited your son last night, which is when they took him away. And I'm mourning him in the park, and they just attacked me like 6 police. And I even have it on camera and all. So after he says those words, I realized when I'm in jail, what happened to my son was whenever his soul was drained, and I said they feasted on him. In the jail, every time there was a generator that's turned on, there was a coolness on my back that was just draining away at me each and every time. I wanted to know what happened to my son, and the creator showed me. And then I'm like, my son is in jail. I'm in jail. My son's in jail. I'm in jail. My son is in jail. And I was screaming. I'm like, he's suffering. I'm suffering. I told them. They thought that I wanted to get out as soon as possible. But I actually felt that I needed to be in the most darkest of place to mourn for my son, because I know he is in the most worst of places. They reassure me he's not. But this video is about to end. So I told them, keep me here until you give me my son. Until I demand my son in my arms, I will stay here, right here, until I get him in my arms. I demanded that from them. I demanded them that I only leave jail until I get my son in my arms. And I screamed at them that, and I kept screaming at them that. Oh, I screamed a lot of things. I did. So afterwards, when they released me But I realized what happened was in the jail, they drained my son's soul like that because they scanned me for whatever reason. It wasn't an x-ray, but they made me get in something and they scanned me, and that's how it was. Drained